Welcome to 2 Cents. I'm Brian Gillis, and I'm here with a ghost. I don't know, someone there?
Yeah. What, you didn't think I was here?
I don't know. It's an
You just wanted
apparition.
me to follow up right away? Like,
Or you can do whatever you want. Feliz Dia de los Muertos. Day of the Dead for you non-Spanish speaker, the people that can't understand my gringo accent.
you
So I
are
hope you...
you're losing me, man. No,
This isn't
I
for
think it's
you.
just daylight savings is getting to me. Well, jumping into a different time zone and daylight savings is getting to me because it's like a 3 hour gap now from
When
what
I
I'm
went
used to.
to the party I went to last night, I had this thought. I was like, wait, it's daylight savings time. It's 2 a.m., but now it's 1 a.m. Does that mean bars have to stay open an extra like 30 minutes on daylight savings day?
I mean, I didn't do anything for Halloween, but this would be like I mean, if I was in school, this would be the
It
perfect.
would have been
Yeah,
awesome,
this would have been
right?
the best like
It's like
Halloween for
it's
college. Yeah,
Halloween and you get an extra hour. Fuck yeah, woo! And it's a Saturday. What?
you pretty much got the whole weekend to get your shit back together. Like that's perfect.
Yeah, so me and Steve are doing something I guess kind of special. Neither of us have seen the Preacher trailer. He hasn't read the source material, but we're
Hmm.
gonna I guess watch this and give our feedback live. So I'm gonna press play right
We're gonna
now.
try. We have it queued up.
Yeah, I got mine queued
All right,
up.
ready?
So
So countdown from three.
we'll just do it.
All right, I'm going right now.
It's dark and ominous.
Oh,
That kid's in fucking everything. I swear. He's on the League. He's in a Geico
What do you
commercial.
want, kid?
He's in Wet Hot American
It's about my
Summer.
dad.
so your reaction's kind of like Dominic Cooper's. What the fuck are you doing here?
No, I'm like, who's his agent? He's
I
getting
want you to
work.
hurt him.
Now I'm like, what the fuck?
You know it's a sin just to ask me that.
I know. People said before you were a preacher, you did things.
How hurt you want him?
This is fucking lame.
How far do I go? Problem is your daddy's a big fella. He's gonna fight back. Things will escalate. That's what these things do. They escalate. Violence makes violence. Makes
Fucking
nothing
Batman
but
right
you
now?
know.
Preacher! Enough!
Almost done, Sheriff. Is that what you want, kid?
Yeah, I don't know what the
Yeah.
fuck that's supposed to be.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
Okay, that Cassidy's horrible. too.
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
all anticipation for the show is out the window. I'm not gonna watch it.
I mean, I'm still curious as to how it's gonna turn out. There's a couple of good shots in there though.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean those flashes they have with like some guy with his eyes missing are kind of interesting, but no, the casting's way off. Dominic Cooper's accent doesn't seem authentic. That Cassidy's like fucking bloody awful. He's supposed to be like Scottish, not a leprechaun.
I still don't have a great sense of what this is gonna be, knowing nothing. Then again, maybe doing this live commentary completely defeated the purpose, since I definitely missed some lines in there. But I don't know. We'll see. It's I'm
There's
looking
no
I'm looking at comments right now, and yeah, it just seems like it's a pretty meh reaction.
like I said, there's only 5,000 views on YouTube so far, so I can show you what kind of anticipation.
Well, this just went up
mean,
too. It can't be up. It
2
couldn't have
hours
been
ago.
live for that long. Really?
Yeah, it said 2 hours ago on YouTube.
Oh well. Okay.
And I mean, obviously, a big part of their audience watched it live with The Walking Dead, but we'll see what happens tomorrow
You
morning.
can't expect
almost
it to hit
every
Star Wars numbers or anything.
no,
yeah.
well, it's not supposed to, but almost everything in that trailer was not in the comics. There's no interaction like that with a kid. There's no description. There's no one in his town knows the fuck he is because Jesse Custer just kind of is a lone dog, like doing his own thing and just going to church and reading from the Bible, and then bad things happen. There's no, you don't know who, whatever. I'm not gonna get into this. That's our show. Our big point right now. We'll do some breaking news. I'm sure you might have saw this. Neil Blomkamp tweeted a couple of days ago
Yeah.
confirming that Fox has prioritized Prometheus 2 over Alien 5. His quote directly, his tweet rather, is Alien is kind of holding / pending Prometheus 2, so I shall be working on other things, ... as much as I love the Xeno and Lieutenant Ripley. So that's kind of a bummer.
No, yeah. I mean, I really wanted to see what he was gonna do, but
We're still going to see. It's just going to be, instead of working on it right now, it's going to be, a year and a half from now.
well, who knows? I mean, because it really all just depends on Prometheus 2 at this point. I mean, what if Ridley Scott just suddenly manages to make a really crappy movie and all interest in the franchise just kind of goes out the window? And I don't know. There's a bunch of things.
That's the strength, and not necessarily a prequel, but a parallel universe, because since it's not necessarily dealing with Ripley or the Xenomorphs or anything like that, even if it fucking flops, Fox can just go, let's forget about that movie and do the one we wanted to do, and then the fans would be happy anyway.
Oh, yeah, they're calling the next Prometheus movie Alien, though, so... I mean, it's
Paradise Lost.
Yeah, so that's officially part of canon. Like, that'll be on a box set probably. Like, they're forever connected, I guess, at this point.
I hate those box sets. Like, the movie, every time a franchise movie comes out like that, people go and buy the box set. I realized at a young age, I was like, I don't want to buy the box set until the series is definitely over.
Yeah, I mean,
I want the Ultimate Collector's Edition with, it's perfect. Not, I just bought the Indiana Jones trilogy. Oops, guess that doesn't work anymore. You got a Kingdom of the Crystal Skull just hanging out on the side, huh?
I mean, it's funny, the only box set that I have, on Blu-ray anyway, is the Alien quadrilogy, and even though the next Prometheus movie is called Alien, like, I still don't feel like I have to shell out another box set for that. Yeah, I mean...
What about when Alien 5 comes out, though? Wouldn't you feel not necessarily obligated, but
I think by the time that comes out, it might be strictly digital. We don't know. Like, I rarely buy Blu-rays anymore now. Yeah. I mean, I've sold a bunch, too. I mean, I still have quite a few, but I only keep...
That's because I'm moving, though.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I just only keep stuff where... It's kind of, I mean, I look at it kind of like a music collection in a way of like stuff that sort of means something to me. That's the only reason that I'll hold on to it. Like, I didn't need I don't know, like, for example, I don't know, this is the first thing that's coming to mind. I had Taken on Blu-ray, and hey, that's a fun movie, but it's not exactly something I go back to rewatch often.
I just want to
So I didn't need that, but...
You said, might not be digital. Like, that is possible, especially since Alien 5, like, it's probably not going to come to home video until 2, maybe even 3 years from now.
I mean, we're already at a point where basically everything is streamable, like, basically.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we haven't
it happens with It happens with every major format shift, though. Once DVD came along, then VHS died. Blu-ray, well, I don't know, that's a different thing. We still got DVD, but every major platform shift, the older model phases out. So physical media will probably die.
Yeah, but, I mean, we haven't talked about this in about a month or so, but the 4K Blu-rays with HDR and all that jazz are coming out this holiday season. They're going to be on the shelves in less than a month. So,
but I mean, how big is that going to hit though? Because even
if you
3D Bluray, that was a thing that didn't hit that big.
I mean, it didn't hit big, but people that have 3D TVs definitely buy 3D Blu-rays, and I think it's gonna be the same way. If you have a 4K TV, you'd be stupid not to buy 4K content for it, because otherwise, you're not utilizing your $4,000+ investment. So, like, if someone has one of those 100-inch Samsung TVs, they're definitely going to go out and buy these 4K Blu-rays and the new Blu-ray players and the new HDMI cables and all that shit, because when you have an early adopter, you sucker them into all these purchases.
Yeah, but you can already stream House of Cards in 4K or stuff on Amazon in 4K, so how quickly is the stuff going to be available for purchase on Apple or...
I don't know. I mean, you also got to, like...
I mean, it'll catch up faster now, for sure.
I mean, you can argue that someone with a 4K TV probably has Fios or really fast internet, but the average consumer doesn't. I mean, I think most people probably struggle with just full 1080p streaming. But moving on to the next topic, not really something to talk about, but Ricky Gervais has been confirmed to host the Golden Globes. He's coming back, which is really weird because the last year he hosted, I think that was 3 years back, he was like kind of drunk and saying some belligerent weird things.
He was just shit talking Hollywood the whole time. But they applauded him for it though.
A little bit, but there was some really weird backlash on that, and so it's weird that the foreign, I can't even speak right now. Foreign Press Association would hire him again or like fucking get him to come back.
I don't know. Maybe a ratings bump might help them or something. I mean, I don't know. I remember him being funny, and I remember him just kind of.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah, but just it was really surprising, but I don't know. I mean, because it was received so well at the from people at the ceremony. I mean, the crowd seemed into it, so I don't know. Maybe everyone just understand that he was joking. Maybe that could fly or some. I don't know.
Or just
you
everyone's
get what I mean,
probably forgotten. It's been so long. I mean, it's like 2 years, but that's a long time. Other returns. Michael Giacchino is coming back to score The Incredibles 2.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty fucking badass.
Absolutely.
I love that theme, the Mr. Incredible theme. Dun, 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 dun. It's kind of like James Bond, but
oh yeah, no, like there's so many
superhero-y
bits of that score that just are taken straight out of there's parts straight out of Goldfinger or You Only Live Twice, like
when his car
it's a very Bond inspired theme,
like when the car is switching to the Incredible Mobile or whatever it's called, or him going to the island the first time. Like it definitely it has that Broccoli production sound to it.
Oh yeah, like classic Sean Connery Bond.
Yeah. This is kind of not important, but it's still on topic, like stemming from our last week. We were talking about Community and the numbers that Yahoo got, and they didn't really reveal. It was shown through like quarter earnings reports that Yahoo is going to be pumping the brakes on original programming. They're reporting a $42 million tax break from Community and the two other shows that no one watched. They've also they were gonna have a reality DJ competition show that Simon Cowell was producing. That's on the back burner. That's not going anywhere. So it sounds like their test kind of failed. That's a lot of money to be claiming like that.
Yeah.
That means that they got none of their money from their advertisers or something like that, or just everyone torrented it instead.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, because it's there are no ads. All you have to do is just download the app, or you can. I mean, even if you're on the internet, you can just access the website. No, there were no ads. Well, there was one ad at the beginning, but
did that affect the
breaks,
runtime?
no.
Was it still 24 minutes or was it 30?
It didn't follow the basic runtime. Like some episodes are 24 minutes, some are 28. It was all scattered around, but it was just the episode from beginning to end. With credits,
Gotcha.
There's probably only one 30-second ad when you click from time to time.
So they
but
fucked
that's
up,
it.
the TV. Well, I mean, they were going for more of a Netflix or HBO type thing. I mean, I haven't seen many episodes of Community, but it doesn't sound like that would kind of work with them. They like doing the cliffhangers around with the jokes and all that.
No, it was a very
sitcom.
It was a very different format, and there were spot breaks in there, where it cut to black, and that's probably because that's just how they're used to putting the show together. But I mean, they had complete freedom to do whatever they wanted for this one, which
I guess they had too much freedom though, because they got the IRS is
well, I mean
that on the paperwork.
That though, I mean, and Community appeals to a very, very, very specific audience, so that wasn't something that. I mean, that was a good start of getting people on board. But as far as getting into the mainstream, no, that wasn't going to be the thing that got them into it. They needed something else, and they don't have that.
I saw one of those photo rolls on Tumblr a couple days ago, where it was Abed directing someone. He's like, "You're supposed to be my father in this scene." He's like, "I don't want to." And Joel McHale's like, "I don't want to be your father." He's like, "Perfect, you're already him."
Yeah, that's in one of the first few episodes.
I laughed pretty hard.
That's pretty early, yeah.
Maybe I'll watch an episode or two on Netflix one of these days. Another big news item: Amazon's announced that December 4th is the date that Spike Lee's Chi-raq is getting theatrical release. So it's a little bit less than 2 months from when Beast of No Nations went in theaters. So hopefully this makes more money. It is Spike Lee, so that's a bigger draw than Cary Fukunaga.
Is it a similar release pattern that they're doing?
I think it's a much bigger
it's online
one.
exclusively? Or?
No. It's the same kind of thing. It's online. It's going to be on Amazon Prime. Probably also regular Amazon as well as day and date in theater. But I think this is... I mean, I could double check, but I want to say it's Lionsgate. Like they're helping push it out there. So I'm assuming it's gonna be a much bigger release, but who knows? Like there might be that same kind of backlash that happened to Netflix. But that's also because they did the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon 2 stuff first, so they already pissed off the theater chains. But we'll see. I don't know the kind of numbers. Maybe it'll have legs.
I mean, it also depends on how well received it is. Unless it's has it screened already?
I don't think so. I think they're like playing it real tight. Like Amazon probably wants to have this, probably even no critics. Who knows? But I haven't.
I mean,
I haven't seen any feedback yet.
Yeah, and also Beast of No Nation, like that's not a movie where if you were gonna put that like in wide release in theaters, where you could easily sell that to an audience.
Yeah.
But
Plus,
for people at home, that's like you just hear about that premise, and that's something that they would be willing to watch on their own, just because it's way too interesting to pass.
I read something on Twitter that Beast of No Nation is like one of Netflix's most watched movies this year.
Oh yeah, no. Do you have that in your notes? Are you gonna?
It's not on my notes.
Bring up that number.
It was something big though, like
30 million people. 30.
Wow, that's
That's
week
the number
it was
I
like
saw.
6.
You realize that's 30 million streams, and if you take into account, like probably on top of that, there's more than one person sitting in front of a TV watching that,
or multiple watchers.
I mean,
it could have been a rewatch.
Yes, I mean that's like
it's like $300 million right there.
That's insane.
You think about like $10 per view.
Yeah, if it's roughly $10 per person, and there's even more on top of that.
2 out of made nothing.
Yeah, because there's got to be more people sitting there. Yeah, so that's insane.
Especially because we reviewed that film. It's pretty dark. It's not. I wouldn't want to be at like, go over to someone's house, eat some dinner, get a couple open a bottle of wine, have a good time. Let's watch a movie on Netflix. What do you want to watch? Oh, let's watch that shit. I'd be like, no.
Let's move on.
Let's move on.
I got nothing to add to that. Yeah.
Talking about stuff on the production side, slates. It's official. Ben Affleck is already in production on Live by Night. He tweeted a photo from the set. You told me. Like I said it last week. I was like, Chris Cooper just got casted. They're probably moving on. They're not doing the solo Batman movie right now.
Yeah, no, I looked at it. Like I looked on IMDb. They had everyone cast. Everyone had a character already. It looked like they were moving forward and they was going to go. And
I
sure
think
enough,
it was like 7 weeks ago, maybe. We talked about it in one of the episodes.
We talked about this like last week.
No, yeah, we talked about this, but like 6 or 7 weeks ago, I believe, is when Warner's made that announcement. Because there's Live by Night, and then Ben Affleck's also working on something else besides the Strangers movie. And those kind of just got stalled. And then that's when speculation opened up about, there's going to be a solo Batman movie. And there was also news this week, rumors anyway, about like the possible premise for the solo Batman movie. So who knows? But maybe they found some kind of compromise. They were like, you get to do yours, then you have to do one for us type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, now's the perfect time to do it anyway, because they're going to have to start shooting Justice League pretty soon.
Plus, probably what they told him is that if you can finish production on this before we finish post on Batman vs. Superman, which is definitely possible. More production stuff. This is real timely, especially because of last week also. Miramax announced that Bad Santa 2 is coming.
Aren't you happy about that?
Definitely happy. Billy Bob Thornton's back on. They're going to start filming in January with the holiday 2016 release. There isn't a director yet, but Doug Ellen wrote the script. He was like tweeting about that before Entourage movie came out, so that's cool. I read some stuff online. They're like, but like Bernie Mac died and Jason Ritter died, and I was like, so like Santa can't go to a different mall.
I didn't even know Bernie Mac was in it. Honestly, like,
yeah.
I haven't seen this yet.
Seen it. Like it's really about two.
Kind of bummed me out a little bit.
It's about two characters. Okay, it's about Billy Bob.
No.
It's about Thurman Merman.
Save it. We'll get to this when Debt to Cinema.
Whenever you do it.
Comes. Next month we'll get to it. I'm sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty excited. Even if it's not great, I you'll see why. Just there's some great characters in that movie. The time differential is not going to work for a couple of them, but we'll see.
Right away I want to say, okay, it's a comedy sequel. The biggest worry I think is that they have a tendency to repeat everything that you love from the first film.
Yeah, well, you'll see why. That's not going to be possible because of one of the characters. But who knows?
All right.
Some really interesting projects that got announced, or at least came to my attention on the internet. Michelle Rodriguez, she's set to star in this film called Tomboy. It's a revenge thriller about a hitman who has a forced gender reassignment surgery. Sigourney Weaver is going to play the doctor responsible for the sex change. Just the premise alone, it kind of sounds like The Skin I Live In, except as a thriller. Did you see that? Pedro Almodovar?
I have not. No.
Something kind of similar to that.
I don't even know what it's about. I just know the title.
Yeah, check it out. It's a good one. But I think this is really interesting. It might be good. Who knows? Michelle Rodriguez hasn't starred in anything in quite a while. I mean, obviously she's been, like the Fast and Furious movies,
Furious 7, yeah,
and like Grindhouse and a couple other things. But usually it's an ensemble or she has a bit part, like in Machete. So this is kind of big. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
the studio
a leap.
behind it. That's a leap.
That's insane though. That's an insane idea for a movie. I mean that could be that sounds pretty badass though. Like,
right? Like I think if it's done
Yeah.
well, if they get the tone right.
Who's directing that?
I don't know.
They don't know.
I'm sure there might be something
You don't know
out
what
there.
studio that's with?
No,
I mean,
it's probably something small and weird. But that's all the info I
I was
got.
gonna say, like, yeah, this sounds like, is this a Blacklist script or?
It might be. The
Because
premise
that sounds like
it would
some
be
that
one.
would be, yeah.
Something very similar, or not similar, but like kind of close. Another project that Abigail Breslin and Laverne Cox are attached to called Freak Show. It's an adaptation of a James St. James novel, the guy that wrote Party Monster. And it's about a guy running for homecoming queen at his high school. It's going to be directed by the helmer behind The Kids Are All Right, and Drew Barrymore's Flower Films is producing. So that could be good. I mean, Abigail Breslin, she's staying busy, even though she's not that great on Scream Queens. But I think that's a really interesting premise. Not sure. I mean, hopefully that's on the funny side, like the high school kitschy stuff. It's not taking it seriously.
Well, it should find a. I mean, I don't know.
ground.
You saw The Kids All Right, right? So
Yeah.
there'll probably be a good balance of both.
Yeah, I really like that movie.
Although, yeah, no, I thought that was one of the best movies of that year.
Uh-huh.
But I want to say it might probably cite a bit more on the dramatic.
Even though the premise is
at least in
kind
the end, yeah.
of, I mean, it's not laughable, but the premise, like it's almost a
I
joke.
think you're
saying
buying. Yeah, but I think you're bound to find some a lot of serious stuff within that story. There's no way. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to have quite a few emotional beats.
I would
There's
hope
no way it couldn't.
it's like a somewhat more serious Juno, except without the look how trendy we are angle. Like no dry humor from Ellen Page.
I mean, Juno is 8 years old. I mean, aren't we past that point now? Like,
No, I'm just saying like a similar high school tale. Like it's very mature, yet it's still about high school characters doing not the best actions.
I'm just saying in terms of like how Juno was kind of showy in that way.
Well, who knows?
You
I
know?
mean, I'm sure if there was another Juno this year or next, that it would do just as well. Like it had the same kind of tone. Like people go for that. I mean, that's kind of Wes Anderson's career. So, a couple more things. We're going to talk about some director stuff now. M. Night is reteaming with Blumhouse for his next flick. It's coming out January 20th. It's called Split. January 20th, 2017, that is. I know he had this script before The Visit even came out. So this just shows, like, I guess Jason Blum really likes working with him, and you saw The Visit. You said it was good, so.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really good. I mean, it's probably I'm guessing he's doing some with a bigger budget because The Visit costs next to nothing, and since that did so well,
I'm guessing this one's not going to be found footage either.
I hope not. Well, that's not really what The Visit was. It was more like a fake documentary.
Yeah, but I mean, I saw the trailer. The kids were definitely holding the camera.
Yeah, I mean, it did. He did play with it in interesting ways, I thought. But yeah, I mean, he's not officially. I don't want to say it's really a comeback,
Kind
of a return to form of sorts. But we'll see if he can be consistent with this.
I mean, he got a little bit more than a year to perfect this next one. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is a lot of time for a horror film, unless you're Friday the 13th getting bumped around every couple of months. Something
And Blumhouse films too. They get made pretty quick
really
because
quick.
they're on the cheap. Yeah,
he
they don't cost that
releases
much.
At least like 5 movies a year, and we totally forgot he produced Whiplash when we were talking about him last week.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, no, like he's
it wasn't
that
even
doesn't
that
have
he
the
just
Blumhouse label, I think. Yeah,
no,
but
yeah,
his
just
name
him
is
as a
on
producer.
it. Yeah,
but even more interesting, he produced the short that was adapted. So he was in that. Like he must have ran into Damien Chazelle somehow. I don't know. But yeah, he produced both
He's a
versions.
big part of probably helping getting that movie made. Yeah.
He did something really interesting this week. I didn't watch it. I'm sure it's archived somewhere on the internet. He produced a live horror Periscope Thursday night. I think it was about like 22 minutes. I watched like the first minute and a half of it. I couldn't get into it because there was like all the comments and hearts on the screen. It was like a YouTube archive because I guess the new thing is if you Periscope something, it has to be available on Periscope for 24 hours. But it wasn't just the content. Like I said, it was like a screen capture with all the comments and stuff. But I'm sure that'll be somewhere. So I think that's really cool, especially we were talking about this just a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Eli Roth, he had his Snapchat thing. Yeah, I've told you about the chat roulette first person shooter. Apparently, there was a second version that just came out a couple of days ago of that. It was called like episode 2 or something. So you should check that out still if you didn't watch it. I doubt you watched it the first time I mentioned on the show.
No, I did not.
But people are getting creative with new media.
I'd hate to say it, but I'm guessing you called it when you with how you said revolutionary Unfriended was.
Like I seriously feel that. Like I think.
I mean,
I
that
wasn't the catalyst.
Hard to disagree with you right now. Yeah.
Like
But I see what you mean.
We
yeah.
live in this unified internet world, and think about it like this: how long it took for movies to put cell phones into the plot, right? And now, if you're making a contemporary movie and there wasn't some kind of phone usage, like It Follows, you're like, what the fuck is going on? This doesn't seem like the real world.
Weird ass clam phone, like
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, that's only like putting your toes in. Like, I want to see someone on Facebook. Like we talked about this also. I think it was last week when I was talking about men, women, children. Not being the step that Unfriended was, but I thought that was kind of like the blueprint of show this dynamic, show this drama. And it's not necessarily about the characters interacting with one another, but based off of how they interact because of the internet. So I hope this is a trend that continues for a couple years.
I think Men, Women, and Children did that very well, but
the rest didn't do so
disagree.
well.
We disagree on that. I mean, for me, there was a lot of stuff that I took away from that. I need to watch that again because I know it's on.
I want to
Prime,
it's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I mean,
Amazon Prime's getting some good stuff this month, by the way. I think like around Thanksgiving, they're getting Top 5 by Chris Rock. I really like that. It was my favorite.
That's
movie
part of the Epix deal, though.
Is that Epix? Yeah. They already have
it's Paramount.
Ex Machina. I know it's A24,
yeah,
but they already have that. So
and that came out in April too. Like, goddamn,
well,
was quick.
that was on video on demand. I think like 2 weeks after it was in theaters. So, or maybe it was like day and date. I'm not sure. I just remember it being on VOD really quick. Next director, you're gonna like this one. Paul King's back. He's gonna write and direct Paddington 2. So more marmalade for everyone. Very excited about that.
Yeah, no, I don't need Paddington 2. That's not. I mean, that's a sequel I could do without. But yeah, I mean, hey, you got the people involved that made the first one, and make another fun movie. That's have at it. That's all I have to say. If it's good, I'll see it.
Something interesting. James Franco is lined up to direct The Disaster Artist. It's a film about the making of The Room. Seth Rogen's attached. James Franco's brother might be in it. I'm sure it's going to be that whole posse.
Are you? I mean, this has been around for a while. Are you finding this out now, or
no? I think it's just that it like resurfaced. So maybe he's like really actually going to direct it. I remember like he even wants to play Tommy Wiseau in it. So maybe
that's always been the plan.
I think maybe they just got caught up with other stuff. We probably even talked about it before. But it came back up in the trade, so either they forgot they knew about it, or, like I said, there might have been a move that went forward. But with how busy Seth Rogen is right now, like we started this with The Preacher. We've been talking about his other properties that he's trying to kick off, and he has a movie coming out next month. Like, who knows if he's even going to be in it? Maybe he's just like a silent producer.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Who would he play anyway?
I don't know. I haven't seen The Room still, so he might be. He might be like the producer. I don't know if you'd be an actor.
That'd be Tommy Wiseau, but
Oh, yeah, well, it wasn't. Was it a one-man show? I thought he had like people helping out.
You have to see that movie. Just
I will. Like, I thought about adding it to my Halloween like Saga or the hell you want to Shocktober.
I kid you
or
not. Just when you watch the opening credits, you will know exactly what kind of movie you're watching.
I've seen clips. I've like sat in on people talking about it. Like I'm aware of how bad it is.
No, but I mean, it's just when you see who's credited for what, you will understand
Is it
exactly
like
what
that,
it is that you're going to sit through.
that YouTube video you showed me where it's like the jerk off credits list. I don't remember the name of it. Some student project where it was like, and everything by this guy, but it wasn't a catch-all title like Robert Rodriguez does. It was like this me, this.
No,
me,
well, it was
this,
it's
me,
pretty much like
this.
that. Like for the last like the main titles and all that, it's like written by Tommy Wiseau, fade out, fade in, produced by Tommy Wiseau, fade out,
Screen story
fade in.
by.
Yeah, directed by
That's why I like
you just look at
Rodriguez.
it for a while. It's like, who the fuck is this Tommy Wiseau? Like,
I like the way Rodriguez does it, or like Kevin Smith, like he does something a little bit similar. But like in Sin City, what's it say? It's like shot, cut, and like screwed or whatever. Something really bizarre like that. Still on director's front, Elizabeth Banks is directing Pitch Perfect 3. She's coming back. Which
For
I mean,
real?
you didn't. Yes, you didn't see the second one, but she did a
Oh,
fine
man.
job. So good for her. They're really trying to make this one come out soon. I remember they announced the release date before the second one even came out. So
no, I'm sure she's doing a fine job, but honestly, like, that's just a franchise I have no interest in.
I mean, I really liked the first one, but that second one was just a cash grab. And it wasn't bad. It's just it didn't do anything for me. It didn't expand the characters. I had like
so it's
they
kind of like
added
Magic
more.
Mike XXL, isn't it?
No. See, Magic Mike was at least
Come
fun.
on.
That shit was really fun.
But
there
it
were some
didn't
great
expand the
moments.
characters.
It didn't have to. It was a road trip movie. Whereas this was a full-on sequel. It was the continuing of the whatchamacallit, the Bella Barden legacy. It didn't. It went nowhere. They added characters. They added what's her name, Kaylee Steinfeld from True Grit, and her song in the movie is actually pretty good. Flashlight. That song's pretty good. Last director on the slate.
Magic Mike's not that great, but okay.
Our listenership disagrees. Over 1,000 listens and getting stronger by the day. Mark Webb is working on another TV show. It's called Smoke and Mirrors at CBS. I didn't catch the pilot to Crazy Ex-Girlfriend on the CW, but everyone on the internet apparently loved that. I obviously like what he's doing with Limitless, even though I know you haven't seen that yet still.
Of course I haven't. I really want to, though.
So I
really
hope
do.
he doesn't get comfortable in TV, even though he's doing a good job, because we know even though the Spider-Man movies weren't that like they weren't praised or anything.
There were a lot of good things about them, and I still love. I defend Amazing Spider-Man 2 more so than most. But
Jamie Foxx was just not a good choice for that movie. I thought that was so weird. Or maybe it was just Electro was a weird choice.
He played it exactly the way it was written, and I thought it worked out for what it was.
It was so weird.
I thought it was pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, it's about as good as Jim Carrey was as the Riddler. I think. I just
Jim
like
Carrey is very, very iconic.
I
I think when
don't
most
know.
people think of the Riddler, they either imagine the Arkham games or Jim Carrey.
Well, I enjoyed seeing Jamie Foxx as a mentally disturbed villain, and I mean, it may not be what people wanted, but I thought it made sense within the movie how that turned out. I mean, because he was just mentally unstable, and that kind of made it a bit more threatening, I thought.
We shouldn't even talk about that movie. I'm just saying he did 500 Days, he did those two movies, and he hasn't done anything else with a big camera. So hopefully he's just like on a film sabbatical from getting burnt by Sony. Someone else, Common, has joined John Wick 2. He's gonna be the villain. Fuck yeah, I can back that. I like Common. I've seen him in villainous roles before, like Smoking Aces. Something else that I'm blanking on.
Wanted.
Was he a bad guy in that?
He was one of the. He was one of the guys that was a good guy,
yeah.
and then that whole agency kind of they all end up being the
Shoot
bad
this
guys
motherfucker!
after that,
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. Fuck the code.
Man, I can't wait for John.
I know
Wick 2.
you can't.
I can't wait for the TV show. It's gonna happen too, hopefully. Final person in the casting news. Kind of same territory. Rihanna has joined Luc Besson's Valerian. Hopefully she brings a lot more to it than she did to Battleship.
Okay, well, it's a Luc Besson movie, so you know it's going to be pretty fucking weird.
Imagine her, like, putting her spin on the Chris Tucker character from Fifth Element. I could get behind that. Or if she played, like, the Blue Diva.
Yeah. You know, no one knows what the fuck this is going to be, though. I mean, this is an original script.
I'm avoiding it on purpose. Yeah, it's original. I don't want to know anything about this movie. It's like the first major thing he's done in a long time.
Lucy.
And...
I really liked Lucy.
I didn't dislike it. It's just I've seen stuff like it. Like it was original, yes, but there are other things of similar like story elements out there that were released at the same time.
I think there were a lot of ideas though on evolution that were at least worth pondering in that, and just the spectacle of Lucy. Like I really, really enjoyed seeing that in the theater. Like I can't. God, it's been so long though. I mean, that movie came out a year ago, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember having a great time.
I think it was like last April.
It's a long time.
Yeah. That's all I got for casting news. There's a couple of tech things before we get into our reviews for the week. This is kind of interesting. Universal Studios Orlando is going to have a new attraction called Race Through New York with Jimmy Fallon in 2017. It's going to be a ride. I'm assuming based on what he teased on the Tonight Show that it's going to be like a 4D on rails thing with the Simpsons ride. It makes sense logically because he's already the video tour guide or the studio tour at both or like every Universal Studios anyway. So you know it's the next step. He's their golden child for their TV world. So
I still found it. You know, the announcement was yeah, I didn't even really watch it more than like 30 seconds. I don't know.
What?
I found it kind of weird. I mean, is it supposed to be specifically based on his show or?
No, I think, like I said, I think it's like a 4D on rails type thing. It's called Racing Through New York, so I'm assuming it's going to have lots of cameos, probably of SNL variety, you know, going around the Statue of Liberty, maybe like a Empire State Building, Liberty Tower, like, you know, that kind of stuff. It's like a tourist attraction, but you also have scents and smells and wind and maybe even water, plus him doing funny stuff. But you know, I'm assuming it's going to be, you know, like a Star Tours thing. Well, obviously not of that caliber, like 4 to 7 minute movie that is interactive somewhat.
All right. You know, if there's anything that I've learned about myself doing this podcast is that I've realized there's a lot of stuff that I'm really not impressed by.
I like those rides.
And I mean, this is one of them, though. I mean, I don't know. It's just nothing against Jimmy Fallon. It's just as far as an idea for a ride, I hear this and I go like, really?
I mean, at least they're making a new attraction.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, is this where we're going? Like, is this really what people want to go on? Like,
people like Jimmy Fallon.
All right.
I mean, I'm just saying it because I think it's kind of cool. As I said, I like those attractions. Like the Transformers ride at Universal Studios, pretty badass. I've been on like 3 times now.
I can see that though because it's based on a franchise, but well, I don't know. Is Jimmy Fallon really that big?
He's pretty big. Like hosting the Tonight Show is a big deal.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. I just didn't think he was that well liked.
No, he's definitely liked. Like people, I don't think there's anyone out there that hates him. Like we were talking about Luc Besson just a second ago. He starred in a remake of his Taxi movie with Queen Latifah.
I remember that,
and I saw that in theaters, and I liked it.
Okay, I was under the impression that a lot of people hated Jimmy Fallon. I thought they hated him then, especially with that movie.
I think most people don't. Like, I mean, I'm assuming most of your friends aren't, you know, one with the mainstream, but his show gets the most viewership. Like, it is, I would assume, the most watched talk show. Like, and then Jimmy Kimmel is probably slightly behind it. But yeah, that's all the news I have. There's one last tidbit. I was gonna save it for some of the stuff I'm talking about. What'd you watch this week?
What did I watch? Yesterday I did, I rewatched Bon Voyage, Charlie Brown, which is one of the
I don't think I've seen
animated
that one.
Peanuts movies. Yeah, it's basic Peanuts. There's a lot of
I'm assuming
really
it's not
funny gags.
it's probably not really like even close to as good as the Great Pumpkin or Christmas
no,
or Thanksgiving.
it's not like one of those timeless specials, but still, there's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun stuff in there. It's kind of weird though because some of the adults are seen, and you do hear some of them talk. But then again,
That's
though,
really
because
weird.
he's abroad, it kind of makes sense. What would be the point of going to a different country if you don't show some of that culture a little bit? So, I can forgive it for that. It's not like anything that was on Charlie Brown's home turf was weird like that. It all looked the
I
same.
know
And
there's
everything else was different.
it's either an app or a website right now where you talk into it and it adultifies your voice. Something that Fox is doing to promote their movie. I think it's cool. There's like a Snapchat feature. Like they're going out for it. Like they're trying to get people to watch it.
Yeah, even have you seen that standee in movie theater lobbies where they got people taking a seat next to the Peanuts?
Oh yeah,
on
in the red
standee?
stare. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
mean, everywhere on Facebook and Twitter, people are taking those. It's like it's working.
Yeah,
It's getting the word out there.
We had that in my theater when I was still working at the AMC, and I thought that was the coolest standee like I'd ever seen.
Yeah, people love that.
That's-
Like, I'm still
The Tusk one
not.
is really cool too. Wish I saw
You
that.
know,
in person.
I'm trying though to get excited about this, but I'm just not feeling it.
Did you
like,
see the trailer in 3D?
No.
That's
which
why
I don't.
I think the animation really shines in 3D because I've seen it on TV, I've seen the spots, and it looks whatever. You're like, oh, this kind of looks like the Peanuts, but in 3D, like it really looks nice. Like you can tell.
Well, it's not so much just the look. It's just, I mean, little things like, especially in that trailer, like, I don't know, hearing Baba O'Reilly for some reason is just rubbing me the wrong way. And then also, there's a section of the
kind of
trailer where you
audience.
got some modern music, you got some DJ Khaled in there, and I'm just kind of like, as catchy and as much as I like that song, it just
We'll see.
seems
I mean-
weird seeing that on Charlie Brown. And then, I don't know, this could be a big nitpick thing, but I am I the only one that finds it kind of borderline offensive that you have Schultz's signature on the title of the movie when it's not something that he wrote? Like,
I think that's
I get
necessary.
it. I get it. He created it, but it says, by Schultz. I'm just,
It doesn't say Schultz.
I don't know.
I mean, it says Schultz. It doesn't say by Schultz. I think it just says the Peanuts, and then it's like his signature too.
No, it says by
Is
Schultz.
it by Schultz?
It says
Well,
by Schultz,
It is
yeah.
the characters, but I'm sure that was part
I mean,
of
it's
his,
presented in a way that he takes authorship of that when
I think that
it's
has
not.
something to do with his whatchamacallit. His estate. I'm sure his estate got that as a clause in the contract to give the rights to 20th Century Fox.
I mean, also though, it could be that some of the material is based off his work because
Definitely, I know there's the Red Baron
I mean,
Snoopy stuff, so that's 100% his work.
Well, the thing with the red-haired girl, it seems like
Patty?
they might be going for a very. No, it's in the trailer. The new girl. I think it's they just call it the red-haired girl, and it seems like it may be similar to a plot that is already in one of the cartoon specials, but I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. I mean, I thought about it, especially as I was watching this. And I just thought, you know what? I'm okay with living in a world where we get different versions and updates of things, but Peanuts is just one of those things that has such an iconic look that makes it timeless. And it's just one of those things where I just feel like, maybe you should just let this be. Like, you don't.
It's too
I
late.
don't
It's
need,
already coming out. Sorry.
I don't need a different version, though. It's like, just let it be its own thing. It's fine, but I don't know. We'll see. I feel like. Whether or not the movie's good, I feel like that's some that might just bother me. So I'm gonna go with a bias. But anyway, what else did I watch? I did rewatch The Martian.
Yeah,
which,
I saw that on Letterboxd.
which when we did, we talked about that.
Did you see it in 3D again?
I did see it in 3D again. When I talked about it, I admitted that I believe I admitted that I was really tired because that was the day that you and I went to LA to see the walk,
yeah.
and
so with the car troubles and all that shit.
yeah, and which just made my glasses like incredibly dirty, so I had to take them off just so I could get decent 3D. So I mean, it wasn't the best theatrical experience, and then I enjoyed it then, but through the second half of the movie, I was getting more and more tired and thinking more about falling asleep and paying less and less attention to what they were actually saying, which is not something for this movie that works out too well because it's a lot
Mostly
of
dialogue driven.
It's a lot of it's a lot of talking. It's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of planning and just trying to figure out different scenarios of how they're planning on bringing it back. But this time, I just enjoyed it a lot more because I was awake and I was just way more engaged in
laughed at more
just
of
the
poop
overall
humor.
plan. Oh yeah, sure, that too. But I was just way more into just the science behind it and what they were doing, and it was a lot more fun. I mean, it may be. It's probably one of the. It's weird because I can't think of how many times this happens where I see a movie a second time and then just come out like nearly loving it because I've been so tired. So this is kind of a first, but it really won me over the second time more than I expected, and I'm glad I gave it a shot in 3D again before that went away, because I knew that when movies at the movie multiplexes, they don't have that many 3D screens. Yeah. So, and after a while, it's just 2D only screenings, and it looked beautiful. Like, it really did. I swear there's something different about when you capture it native that just...
Was the Martian
the
Fox?
way that... Yeah.
Well, that's why Prometheus 2 is going before Alien 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, all his movies he's made at Fox. Exodus was Fox. The Counselor, I think, was Fox. So he's been...
Kingdom of Heaven wasn't.
Kingdom of Heaven was.
Was it?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I don't remember the opening.
No, it was. He did American Gangster and Robin Hood at Universal, but lately he's been sticking close to Fox. So, Ridley Scott's got a very good relationship with them now. Who was it? Was it Tom Rothman just quit working there, right? So
maybe.
I don't know.
I know
maybe that might change, but
the new Murdoch sons are stepping in soon, so I'm sure there's going to be a big culture shift.
Yeah, but anyway, so The Martian, still a really good movie. Oh god, yeah, how could I not start with this? But okay, last thing. When you listen to our Dead to Cinema podcast of Men in Black, you can pretty much, every time Men in Black 2 is brought up, you can hear me just expressing zero interest in revisiting it just because I'm worried that's not going to hold up. But then as it keeps, well, god damn it, sir, let me finish my story.
Yeah, so every time I bring it up, and I went to the bat for it. I was like, nah, Johnny Knoxville's in, and there's the worm, and there's the worm guys, and Frank
and then
the
near
Pug.
the end of that episode, I just go, you know what? Maybe I should revisit
that
it.
motherfucker.
I think
I'm
I will.
watch it.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. I'm going to check it out. I don't understand you, sir.
I haven't seen it
this
since
is
it came
not
out.
a good. Yeah, but I mean, you specifically stated, okay, one of the sequels is watchable and the other one is shit. And you said that Men in Black 3, which is the other movie I decided to rewatch, was that one that was shit. When it's just no, it's the complete opposite.
Hey,
Men in Black 2 is.
In my defense, I haven't seen the second one in a long time, but I remember it pretty favorably. And I read your review, and the reasons I was like,
I was favorable to it when I was a kid.
I said
but now,
I was like,
no.
Rosario Dawson. Last week, I was like, Rosario Dawson's pretty good in it. I like her character spin, even though you said it's Jupiter Ascending a little bit.
She's not good in it. But I don't blame her because she's not given a character. And just that romance that develops between her and Will Smith, it's terrible because it's just
he's
it's
black,
one really
you're
shitty line. Yeah,
that's good
he's
enough.
about to neuralize her, and then he just explains what he's about to do, and she's like, "Oh, that must be very lonely." And then they just look at each other, and it's just that look of, "I think I'm falling for you."
Welcome to Hollywood.
Just it is horrible. The villain, I don't care if she's hot, she doesn't do shit. Especially when you compare that to Jermaine Clement, who was having way more fun in Men in Black 3. Just Men in Black 2, it's a really lame repeat of the first one. There's a good idea for a mystery in there.
The worms.
Oh, no. No, that was the best scene of the movie. That was good.
Super cool.
That was great. Of all three, that's the best scene with them in the movie. And even the stuff with the pug, that was really funny, actually. But that was in the beginning of the movie, and that didn't go on long enough.
How was what's his name's scene? David Cross. It was good, right? Last week I said it basically right.
It was fairly funny.
They go up to his attic and they watch the videotape, to find out the she bitch's backstory.
I think it was fairly funny, especially with just how that scene ends. There's a pretty good joke in there, but I don't regret liking the movie as a kid. It's just I understand why I liked it more then. I mean, because it's a kid-friendly movie. It's a much lighter. Well, I mean, no, this one especially. I mean, there's a very weird moment where I forget what the main villain, what her name is, but it's a moment where Zed is basically just kind of trying to lead her off, and I don't know, his method of attacking her
Seduction or
is he just
something?
jumps from his desk, does like a weird backflip, and then just jumps up like and does this weird move where he kicks her in the face like 50 times as he's floating in the air.
Okay.
It was just no, it
Sounds
like
vaguely
it's
familiar.
weird. Yeah, I mean it was very cartoony and not in a way that just fits for the tone. It's some that just would work for kids, and then I don't know, you got this really crappy like action scene in the end where Will Smith is fighting like 5 different floating heads, and it was very cartoony, and there was some pretty bad CGI in there that didn't blend well, and it just some really weird humor. It didn't land.
But Johnny Knoxville, come on.
Yeah, what did he do? He had a second head. Okay, he was big in the 2000s, but not so much now. Men in Black 3, though, dude, that movie's pretty fun. I like the time travel stuff. There was some really great jokes just said in that period. I mean, there was one funny one specifically where he got pulled over by a couple white cops. And that's kind of it after that, though. Then the race jokes are done, which it's a good thing that they got that out of the way early because there was no reason to mind that.
I just remember
Although Bill
thinking
Hader,
it was really weird.
it is weird. but
I
Men in
hated
Black is
Bill
fucking weird.
Hader's.
Oh,
who
man,
was he?
really?
Who was he?
Andy Warhol?
Yeah. No,
That was the best.
No, that was
oh man,
ruined
that
in
was
the trailer.
hilarious.
That's a big part of the trailer.
Yeah, but they didn't have like the little lines that he would he would say just pretending to be Andy Warhol. I mean, I love that. There's so many great lines from him just in those like 2 minutes. The one where he's like, I'm filming a man eating a hamburger. It's transcendent. Yeah, it just had me cracking up. God, what else? Michael Stuhlbarg. Who played this really weird, like just kind of innocent alien who was able to predict the future, and just like it's funny how like just every little like incident like had an effect on what possible reality would take place, and it's some that should be annoying after a while, but I don't know, just the way he plays it, like it was always interesting. Just the character just had this quality of innocence that really I've got no other word to say than I just found it endearing. And just like any good sequel, like I like that this doesn't try to repeat things like the second Men in Black, and it kind of tries to dig into that relationship
like
between
a decade removed. So
yeah, it tries to dig into that relationship between K and J a bit more, which
no,
not
yeah, I
too
remember.
much,
I remember
but, like,
that stuff. Like
yeah.
the final 15
yeah,
minutes
which by the way
were pretty good. Like I remember like actually feeling for the characters. Who up until that point in the trilogy, you had no backstory, you had no real connection to them outside of whatever theatrics or adventures they're on with fighting the aliens or laughing with the worm guys. But other than those last 15 to 20 minutes, I like time travel movies, and it didn't really, as far as I can remember, like it didn't do it for me.
Oh, that's a bummer. I mean, I forgot to bring this up, but Josh Brolin.
Yeah, really. No, you said this last week. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's not just a Tommy Lee Jones impression though. Like after a while, you take him seriously as this character, and it works really well. God, what else to say? Oh yeah, I saw this in 3D because I'm back home now, and I rented the 3D Blu-ray, and there's a lot of fun stuff.
Well, it's Sony
that they
so.
Yeah, that they did with it. I mean,
when you make
this
the
is one of
cameras
the earlier
and
conversions.
the projector and you push the Blu-ray technology.
Well, this was a conversion, but like I mean specifically just that time jump. There was a lot of it was really cool how they played with 3D in that. There's a lot of really warped stuff. I mean, Men in Black. I think that's one of the things that the way that just that whole series looks visually is that there's like a lot of use of wide angle lens close-ups, to make things just seem a little bit weird and out there, and that worked really well the way that they did in 3D. But yeah, just I had fun with it. It's not as iconic as the first one. I don't think I'm gonna watch it that often, and it is pretty it's pretty disposable, but it's a really fun movie. In the moment, if you catch it on TV or some.
I doubt I'll stop, but maybe.
I don't know. I'd recommend giving it another shot, but
I'll probably rewatch the second
you-
one more likely, just so I can
I think
see
you
if
should
you're right about
leave
it
that
being a
alone.
shit sandwich.
It is so bad. Like it's there are moments in there that work, but I don't know. Just like as it kept going, it wasn't working. Yeah, I don't want to talk about Men in Black anymore.
Okay. I watched a good amount of things this week. I mean, obviously it was Halloween just yesterday, so I kind of amped up my Halloween stuff because of that. Among things that I watched, we'll go in order here. I saw Eli Roth's Knock Knock finally, which was about what I expected, but a little worse. The way it starts, like, there's some really interesting shots that they reuse. I think there's one that happens like 3 times to kind of set the scene, but just like the dynamic between the 3 characters, especially how they're introduced and that whole interaction, like really, really done well. Like you feel bad for Keanu when shit starts getting bad, but just kind of a little too crazy. I mean, this is an Eli Roth movie, so yeah, I get it, but it started seeming less likely. Have you seen Hard Candy? No. It kind of, even though Knock Knock's a remake, I haven't seen the original that's based on. It kind of reminded me of that. Like it was like this could probably happen, but it's pretty fucking out there. It was good though. I liked it. I mean, it was fun seeing Keanu again, and with his like you could kind of tell that this might have been shooting at the same time as John Wick or something because of the hair. Like he had the John Wick hair in it.
Well, that's just how he looks in general now, though, isn't it?
No spoilers, but you know, I would check it out. Like it was a fun.
How's
watch.
that spoilers? No, that's how Keanu looks in general now, isn't it?
Maybe I don't know.
How's that a spoiler?
Nothing. His hair is like a character in the movie. I also saw this isn't exactly Halloween, but I saw The Death of Superman Lives: What Happened. Like it's like an hour and 45 minutes. It could have easily been 45 minutes.
Really, after you got a free digital copy too.
I didn't get a free digital copy. I never got an email from Air Director. John Schnepp never contacted me. But like, I was looking forward to watching this for a couple years now because I've always been fascinated with the Superman Lives movie, and there's a ton of stuff here. You know, you got Tim Burton, John Peters, Kevin Smith. They all these like the 3 main dudes. They all gave interviews. You got the 2 other screenwriters. You got a ton of concept artists and a shit ton of artwork, both like ILM stuff, like actual prop work, costume tests. You have like behind the scenes like wardrobe tests with like Tim Burton and Nicolas Cage wearing the actual costume, not like the Polaroid that you see. So all that stuff is cool, and it kind of goes into the story because everyone kind of knows the Kevin Smith interview and like his story. If you've seen it, Evening with Kevin Smith, or like any of his YouTube clips, like there's 3 things you need: no flying, no suit, and a fucking giant spider. And, like he redoes that for the movie basically. But the problem with the movie, and part of it, like I said, is its runtime. But the real problem is that John Schnepp doesn't do anything. He doesn't really guide like any kind of bias. There isn't any sculpting that happens. Just like he's sitting there, he's not asking any questions or looking for clarification. He's just like nodding his head, drinking water. Like there's literally a shot of him where he's like, John Peters is on the phone in the interview and he's just drinking from a water bottle for like 20 seconds. He edited the thing. Like, why would he do that? Like, I get it in the moment. It's like, oh, like I can't believe he answered this phone call while I was having the interview with him. But it came off kind of weird. There, like I said though, there really isn't an angle on the movie. Like the idea is, like the title says, what happened, and it does go through that, like what the studios were doing, their bombs that led up to it, and why its release was shuttered, and a couple other things. But it was almost like you could read, besides the really awesome wardrobe test stuff, which I'm sure is gonna find its way on YouTube if it's not already there already. You could just read the like Wikipedia page and get basically what this movie is.
No, so basically, just sounds like a DVD making of,
yes,
except for a movie that wasn't
made. Yeah. So if there was, say, like Superman Returns had a super collector's edition, it would be awesome if this was on there as like a second disc, like bonus feature. But it doesn't really work as a standalone theatrical documentary. I mean,
honestly,
it was the Kickstarter
I don't
movie
know.
too. So
I'm sure diehard fans might enjoy it. For me, like the first that I heard of this was from that Evening with clip, but I saw that on YouTube, and like honestly, like just based on seeing that, part of me would have like that knee-jerk reaction of, oh yeah, I would totally like to see a documentary on that. But thinking about it, it's like, well, I love Kevin Smith, but I think I'm just more interested in hearing that story from him specifically. Because I mean,
that's the thing too.
How are you going to top that?
His story starts the movie, and then Kevin Smith is gone because he's no longer pivotal to the film. Because when Tim Burton joined, when he was signed on direct, the first thing he did was kick Kevin Smith out. He didn't like his script, so like, he's not really in it. Like, he's in it for maybe 10 minutes, a little bit less than that. It was okay. Like, I didn't feel betrayed or anything. It was exactly what I was looking to watch. It's just, if it was like 20 to 40 minutes shorter and there was an actual like journey that happened. Anyway, back to Halloween. I saw Nightbreed, the director's cut, which is on Netflix. Pretty interesting. I mean, it was basically what I read it was. It's really sad, too. It was a Clive Barker movie. It was based on a short story he wrote in like a horror anthology. I think it would really work today, just its premise. Like, it kind of has a, if you haven't seen it, basically the idea is that, like, monsters are real, except, like, they're like a race of human that's on the verge of extinction from being hunted, and so they have to, like, come together to fight whatever. But it kind of goes by a little too fast. There's not a lot of exposition, not a lot of like, story or world building. If it was a TV, like, it was supposed to be a trilogy. Clive Barker wanted to be a trilogy, but that didn't work. They didn't get the money. It was marketed completely wrong. It was like the trailers showed it as more of like a slasher flick, which is like the farthest thing from what it is. It's more of just like a horror adventure saga, if you will.
I mean, this is the director's cut that you saw too,
which is
right?
like 30 minutes longer than the theatrical.
Yeah,
so I got the longer cut that seemed like it was too short.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Who knows if it's really? I mean, it seems shorter.
Yeah, it was 2 hours long, but it just like it went by really fast, and you never really get a feel for any of the characters. They're just kind of like going along with things, and then you get to like you meet the Nightbreed. Like, their hangout, and you're like, okay, this movie just got really cool. And then it's basically over at that point. But yeah, supposedly they're working on a TV show a couple years back. I think it'd be great. Like, the AMC, I don't like them, but it just seems like a premise that really worked. The best part of the movie, and I mean, I've talked about Jason X.
Or maybe Stars, maybe? I mean, who knows? You know, you got Ash and the Evil Dead.
We'll get to that in a second.
Premiered tonight. Oh.
So we... I've talked about this before, about Jason X being awesome because of David Cronenberg being in it. New fucking threshold in Nightbreed. He plays the villain. He has, like, 40 minutes of screen time or something. He's fucking badass in it. He's the best part of the movie. You should watch it just for his role. So cool. Check it out. It's on Netflix. Like, not the best movie I've ever seen, but pretty cool. Like, it's sad that it wasn't a hit, because today, if it was like just made a little bit better, like, pretty badass concept. So yeah, you just brought up Ash vs. Evil Dead. Stars, I didn't even know this. It was a fucking surprise, okay? Friday night, I was flipping channels to turn on my TV. I never turn my fucking TV on. I think, I don't know, I was like catching up on like Nathan For You or something. They were doing a marathon. And I was like, do I want to do it? It was starting exactly when I flipped to the channel. They had, like, Bruce Campbell doing setups in between movies and stuff. So I watched the trilogy with, like, their hashtags on screen, which some of them were actually really funny. Like, it was like, what was it? Like, breaking up is hard to do. When he cut off his hand in Evil Dead 2, the hashtag was farewell to arms, which, like, met with, like, the Hemingway book being on the stack of books that he holds the severed hand with. Really interesting. Like, I've talked about the first film before. Probably my favorite horror film, just because it's really fucking spooky and really iconic. And even though it doesn't have much humor in it, if at all, but there's just so much stuff, especially like when he walks into the basement towards the end and it gets all blood, like, tastic. Like the blood and light bulb, all that stuff like that. I love that, the tree rape. So I was digging the first one. The second one comes on, which I've only seen once. My least watch of the trilogy. I almost fell asleep on it, and this isn't the first time that's happened. I
Really?
think Evil Dead 2 is my least favorite of the trilogy. Which,
Oh
yeah, that's weird because
man.
like most people, it's their
Oh,
favorite. I think the problem is, and could have been because I was doing the marathon, having just watched Evil Dead and then Evil Dead 2 starting, which the first 5 to 10 minutes is basically the ending of yeah, it's a
recaps. Yeah.
recap of the first movie,
I mean, they all
and then
they all feel like they exist in their own like parallel timeline, and they kind
yeah,
of sort of are
not Evil Dead
following the
2
same
and,
path.
and Army of Darkness, like those are connected fairly
No,
well.
they are, but but I mean, the backstory or the framing story of Army of
Yeah,
Darkness, I feel like that's the big thing
I
that
think it's the
separates
best
that from
one.
Evil Dead 2.
I
Uh,
love S Smart. My
I know
Halloween
people love
outfit
that. Yeah.
like a custom shirt I got online where it's like when he's talking to the townsfolk in the castle about the Remington shotgun with the cobalt blue and nickel plate with the hair trigger 109.95 from S Smart. Like that's the shirt. Like it's all of that dialogue, but it looks like an advertisement. And it's like get your boomstick. Um, but yeah, like, there's something about Evil Dead too. Like I love the humor. We talked about this when I saw Dead Alive or Brain Dead. Like that took it to the next step. Like that does what Evil Dead 2 does well, much better. Because there's
I mean,
still
I felt
uh-huh.
even that even though there's still an element of a comedic element to it, just I feel like I like Evil Dead 2 a lot more because for me that was the most intense one.
See,
Like,
not for me.
I mean, just first thing I think about Evil Dead 2, like I remember the first time like I watched the specifically the scene where just he's running around the house and that chainsaw's chasing him. You got that camera from like that that point of view shot. That is insane. Like I fucking lost it. Might have been because I had a lot of cough syrup then.
Yeah, maybe.
But because I
Seems like
yeah,
a
I
good
mean, it's
match
funny.
for that movie.
I've actually not watched those movies since I had pneumonia and I was on bed
Yeah,
rest. But
that's not helping your case
I
here.
mean, but yeah, no, I mean it really like I just got really into it, and which is exactly what you want when you're sick. You forget about being
Like
feeling like shit.
there's a
And
lot about Evil Dead 2 that I love. I love the humor. I love obviously him cutting off his hand and putting a fucking chainsaw on it. The boomstick, the comedy. That's what makes it memorable, and like the real characterization of Ash, like giving him his quips and his one-liners and making him more of a hero. Whereas in the first film, he's kind of like the pushover who rises at the end as the one that survives. Um, but yeah, it's too much trade. I hate the Hicks that show up that kind of play the same roles from the first movie as the friends initially did anyway. I don't like the daughter character who with the pages like it just I don't know. Like I know it's a fan favorite, but I'd rather just watch the first one. I'd rather see the story and be fucking scared because Army of Darkness has the humor that the second one does, except it pushes it past horror. Like it makes it really funny. 'Cause
I don't know. I
there's
mean,
not enough of the
that's the
humor
thing.
for
Is
me in
like
the second
Army of
one.
Darkness. I haven't, it's been years since I've seen any of
Uh,
them, so my memory's not fresh on them. But when I saw Army of Darkness, like I enjoyed it. I had fun with just how crazy it was. But I mean, this might sound stupid, but I like The Day the Earth Stood Still, the original one, a lot. And so when you get to like that, Klaatu Brada Nikto scene,
uh,
I was just kind of rolling my eyes, like, really, are you
see, I
that
haven't
lazy? Is
seen
that what you're
either
doing?
of
Like,
the Day They're Still Stills, so as
oh,
much as
well,
I like
the
Keanu.
original's a classic. The remake is not horrible. It has its issues, but there's some good qualities in there.
This is what's funny. That when I was doing the marathon, like I finally, like I literally paused the movie, got up, got some candy to wake up. I need like a sugar rush, so I didn't sleep on it. Towards the end of Evil Dead 2, I was like, do I want to watch Army of Darkness? Do I want to stop? Because the reason I did the marathon was the marathon. It finished with not
Ash vs. Evil
pilot,
Dead?
but yeah, the first episode a
Yeah.
day before it was coming out. And I already set it for the DVR, so it was gonna be recorded anyway. I could have done whatever the fuck I wanted. Came back, and so I'm like, do I want to watch Army of Darkness? I'm not really looking for a comedy. I want to see something horror. I had the most fun watching it. It was the one that I really like. In the marathon. I was like, yeah, now I'm amped. Like, give me some
I
sugar,
don't know.
baby.
You had a sugar rush, you
Maybe I don't know. It's just even though it like throws out almost all of the horror elements. I mean, it's still horror, but it throws out like the scary elements for a strictly humor and action premise. It just, I don't know. It's like the power of Ash. Like, Ash is so fucking good in it. I think Ash in Army of Darkness is like one of the greatest hero characters in cinema. Like, just the flawed hero, like, just so good, like, perfect good. Like, him in that is the reason probably why Ash vs. Evil Dead was a thing. Like, that's the reason why it became a TV show. Or that's the reason why they wanted a fourth movie for so long and a remake got made. Because that kind of, like, just,
I think
it capitalizes
it also,
on his character.
It also just sets, like, you know, Bruce Campbell's persona of just how you perceive him now, I think.
Yeah.
In everything that he does.
If you watch an interview, he is like that. Like, it's almost like you're seeing Ash in person. But yeah, get into the show. Before I even talk about the episode, I'm assuming you haven't seen it.
Of course not.
I don't know why the fuck not. It's been out for like a day and a half now, 2 days, according to my book. Stars renewed it for a second season. I'm behind on TV,
you know this, yeah.
Yeah, well, this is past TV. Stars renewed it for a second season before it even premiered, which is a good thing, kinda, but then, like, isn't always great. The Brink on HBO, same thing happened to them. They just canceled that show.
Yeah, I mean, Ash vs. the Evil Dead, like, you had the hype going in. You know, there was already an audience that was already excited about this, and, you know, they sent out episodes to be reviewed, like, 2 weeks ago. There's people that have already seen the second episode, and it's really been getting good buzz from what I'm hearing.
You need to check it out.
They got to be pretty confident.
The first episode starts off pretty slow. I wasn't sure at first, because, like, first off, it's a 30-minute show. The first episode's 45. Sam Raimi directed the first episode. He also wrote it with his brother Ivan. So, like, it's not some cash grab. Like, hopefully Sam Raimi comes back for, like, the season finale or something.
Why would Bruce Campbell come back if it was a cash grab, you know?
Because he needs money. He doesn't get many shows. Like, what, Burn Notice? He's not in any movies. Like, what, Sky High? Like,
no one wants to see a sequel to Bubba Hotep.
They were trying to make that, so Bubba Nosferatu, like, that was a thing, kind of. He was in that My Name is Bruce movie, which is 100% a cash grab on the Evil Dead fan base. But yeah, like, the first 10 minutes or so are kind of weird, because it is Ash, but it's not really. But it works itself into the show, and the longer you watch it, like, it grows on you. Because this isn't a spoiler necessarily, but the premise becomes that Ash is kind of hiding his true self, so, like, the Deadites can't find him or something, basically. And as that kind of goes, that disappears, and his true self, like, he resurrects himself, basically, as he realizes that you can't run from your past, like, you are the man you are. And that's, like, when it gets good. Like, this next episode is going to be amazing. Like, the final 5 minutes were fucking, yes, like, so good, like, better than I thought it was gonna be, and I hope that's where it continues to go. But yeah, slow build, but very nice, great fan service.
Well, we shall see. Everyone sounds happy. I don't know, you know, maybe I gotta rewatch the other three, because the last thing that I did see of that franchise,
you could just see the last two. You don't have to, like I just said, Evil Dead 2 basically is the remake.
No, but I mean, I did enjoy them all, especially the second one. The last thing I saw though was that remake, which
I didn't think was horrible.
I thought it was like, I absolutely did not like it. Like,
I like the change that they did with the Ash character, making it a girl. I mean, his name is Ashley.
Yeah, but. Yeah, I mean, that was the drug addict, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was
because that gave him a reason to actually go to the cabin. That kind of made sense.
Like, I think that did, but the way that it was handled was stupid.
Well, I mean, there was some kick-ass gore though. And then I still remember from that trailer the electric carver. That was so cool in the movie.
God, you know, I hated though, like, how the way that they pitched that movie going in was, oh, you know, it's not in any way similar to the other ones. We're doing our own thing.
This is true.
And that's exactly what I'm for. And no, they totally don't. I mean, you know, they just there was one moment specifically, I think it's near the end, where, you know, she's in a shed and she's looking for stuff, looking around. Yeah. Oh, look, chainsaw guys! Like, hey, we're showing it off, like, because we're Evil Dead, you know. Oh, come on, no, that's not doing its own thing. And then And then she keeps looking around, and oh wait, back to the chainsaw, guys! Come on, cheer again!
Like,
Come
there's a
on, Evil
difference-
Dead
look, there's a
fans!
difference
You love
between
it.
Doing your
You
own
love it.
thing
You love
and
it.
it's having to work within the original property. Like they stepped away from some stuff, and you gotta admit the way it ends is completely different from the entirety of the Sam Raimi universe. Like there's nothing like that when that it's like a fucking demon that comes out of the ground. She has to fight it. I didn't see that coming. The way that she lost her arm, very different. Like it was.
I mean,
I don't.
it's
I'm
little
not
things,
clamoring,
but
I'm not
I know,
clamoring for a
it's
sequel,
little things,
but
yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to one, and I would probably watch in theaters.
I think it's little things, and I just don't have that sentimental attachment that you do to Evil Dead. So I can respect your opinion, but I really couldn't get into it. I mean, it's one of the movies that also just made me realize how gore is not a selling point for me anymore in horror, unless there's like I guess if you're being like super serious about it, because it just had a very serious tone. And I mean, gore, if it's I can still enjoy it, but if there's a bit more of a comedic edge to it, that's kind of where I feel like it
Oh yeah, it's more fun.
at least has meaning to me. Yeah, whereas if it's just disgusting stuff for the sake of it,
I mean, I laugh at
like
gore
unless I'm with a
anyway,
crowd, then
I
but I don't
one of my
know.
favorite
It's like it's a
things-
movie that wants to be serious, so it just it felt off.
One of my favorite
to me.
things about gore films is the laughing part. Like, I still remember laughing so hard at Ryan Gosling stepping into that guy's head in Drive when he fucking stomps in that elevator. I was cracking up. The theater was
That was
dead silent.
amazing.
That was so good.
Yeah, no, I mean there were people that were just kind of like shocked, and then there were people that were laughing uncomfortably, like, "Oh my god, am I watching
No,
this
I was like
happening right
full
now?"
on. This is amazing laugh. Like, it's
Oh,
no
there's-
surprise to anyone that listens to our show that I love Paul Verhoeven and RoboCop, and so like that, like the way that he handles gore.
Yeah, but again, that's violence for comedic effect.
Yeah, well, yeah, like in
Like,
all of his
that
movies,
is-
it's
that is
kind of
gore
like his
that-
aesthetic.
Like that's gore that at least has meaning behind it.
So good. I did watch 3 other things today that don't really count, but I just want to talk about them really fast in rapid succession, just because I like slept my way through the first 2. I spent the night at my brother's house. So his girlfriend put on The Sixth Sense. Like I said, I was like eating through some of it. I was just doing like asshole commentary, like, you've seen this, right? No, okay. Like, I can't believe he's fucking dead. I was like, yeah, you left your husband to fuck this young dude. Like, I don't know. I was doing some commentary. Was just about as uptight as I remembered it. Was surprised I forgot that M. Night had that cameo as the doctor. Plus, there's that really cool scene where the kid was like, "Hey, come with me, I'll show you where my dad keeps his gun." And then you see the back of his head and there's a fucking hole in it. I was like, ooh, that's cool. Like, it's not a scary movie, but it handles the content so well. Like, it knows its tone and it capitalizes on it.
I mean, I don't know what you'd consider scary. I mean, I guess a supernatural thriller might be more accurate. But I mean, it's definitely...
It's in the horror genre, though.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that it was one of the movies that I could have seen back then, without all the hype going into it, because I never had that experience, and I always knew what the ending was going to be.
Look, even with
but
the
I mean,
twist, though,
yeah, that's...
compare that to something very similar, like The Others. It's miles above The Others.
Oh yeah.
Even with knowing the twist of both, like it's really good directing with a great child actor and fucking Bruce Willis. His hair looks great in it. So, how much did that hairpiece cost?
I don't have an answer for that. Are you ready for one?
Yeah. It kind of made me actually want to rewatch it. I was like, watching, because I don't think I've seen it.
Just wanted to admire the hair.
No, not just the hair, but like there is a difference between watching a movie for the first time, even with knowing the twist, and watching it again and looking for it, especially in a movie like that where you're like, let me look for the little hints. Let me see it, But yeah, I think I fell asleep, so I didn't see the ending of it, or they turned it off. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this point will be brought up at some point again in the future, but I do love it when there's movies that you see that just have certain endings that twist endings that then you want to see again
Yeah.
right away and see how all that builds up. But anyway, what else were you watching?
They put on this movie called 17 again, which sounds a lot like.
Is that the Zac Efron one?
No, this was like a Showtime made-for-cable movie with the Maori sisters from Sister Sister, which is exactly what you think it is. Like it was garbage. It was like a little bit better budget than a Disney movie, but I was like sleeping through that, so I didn't care. But I did watch the majority of Get 'Em to the Greek right before it came out and recorded, which surprised me. It was a lot better than I remembered it being. I didn't watch the last 20 minutes or so. Like he got to L.A. and he was reunited with Rose Byrne, but I think maybe not unjustly, because it is still a spin-off / sequel to
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
On its own, it's not bad, but you can't separate its characters and universe from Sarah Marshall. But it was a fairly fun, like, rock star gross out road trip movie. Like, I was having some fun laughing at like the furry wall stuff, like P. Diddy's character, the underutilized comedic talent like Nick Kroll and Aziz Ansari that are just thrown in there for like 5 seconds. Fucking what's her name from Mad Men's in that? Like, that's crazy.
Elizabeth Moss.
Elizabeth Moss. Like, why would she take that role? That's just weird.
No, she was big at the time. I mean, you know this pretty well about me, that I'm a big fan of Apatow stuff. Whether directed or produced. That was not only one of my favorite movies that summer or just that year in general. Like I watched, like I saw it a bunch of times in theaters with the crowd. Like I love that movie so much that at the time, maybe even still to this day, because I do want to rewatch it. Like I look at my. When I'm looking at my DVD shelf or something I just want to watch, I come across, I'm like, maybe I want to rewatch this because it's been a while, but then I end up going with something else.
It wasn't bad.
It's no. It's one of my, like, if I have to make a list of like top 10 or 20 favorite comedies of all time, that would be on there.
That's crazy.
Like, probably on top 10. Like, I love that movie. I quoted the shit out of that movie when it came out. I went as far as to say, dude, I found this way funnier than The Hangover.
First thing.
I mean, because it was a year later. I mean, that scene in Vegas, like, dude, just that.
The fight scene.
There are so many. Just the adrenaline
like,
shot in there, like when they're running down the hallway. P. Diddy getting hit by the car. I mean, there's just so many lines coming to my head.
I still remember how it ends. Like, he has that scene with his son. His son's like a fucking douchebag. Or maybe he was just he was in something else. I don't know. But like I basically missed like 10 minutes of story and then the show at the end. Like I didn't miss anything. But I kind of do want to watch the rest of it tonight. Just
yeah,
because.
I mean, I have some of the songs from that movie too on my iPod.
Well, how would you forget African Child?
Yeah, I know. I mean, but there are like there's some
clap and whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good songs. The first song in the movie, "Gang of Lust," like I really. Well, that was in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, but
I bet she was on the soundtrack.
Not Forgetting the Greek, but
really.
No, that was Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
I know it was that movie, but I would have put it on the soundtrack.
Oh, they had a bunch of other original songs. I mean, but
if I remember correctly, didn't Nicholas Stoller and
he directed both, yeah.
No, not that he directed. Didn't
Jason Segel?
Yeah, didn't Jason Segel co-write the songs for Get 'Em to the Greek?
I think only for the. I think it was only for Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
I know he wrote
the
for
credit that he has.
Marshall, yeah.
For Get 'Em to the Greek is based on characters credited by.
He had no credit because he was like, "You're making that movie, fuck you guys." That's why he had no, like, think about it, like Sarah Marshall had a cameo, kinda. She has like the TV spot for the blind doctor or whatever, but there's no mention to any of the characters. It's kind of
honestly
in the way that This Is 40 did it, like pretty similar.
Honestly, This Is 40 just kind of, I don't know, there's a bit more of a foot grounded in reality tonally for that movie, so that, they kind of, I don't know, it worked weirdly, but I mean, for this, I mean, you have a problem with, I guess, how that connects to that world. I don't, because it's a comedy.
It's a couple things.
I don't expect it to work perfectly, and
Sarah
it works
Marshall
fine enough.
is probably one of my favorite comedies. And
I'm there with
you.
The
fact that not Apatow directly, but Universal, I guess you could say, kind of bastardized the one side character that got a lot of laughs, and went so far as to take the character that was sucking his dick in Sarah Marshall and teaming him up as his sidekick this time. But no, it's not the same character. It's just someone that looks exactly like him, guys.
I can
Kind
accept
of
that
weird
because he's got different hair.
but no, it's like
That's good enough for me, you know.
I had the same problem when I was watching This Is 40. Like when Jodie and Martin Starr show up, I was like, wait, are they reprising the roles?
I think they're supposed to be the same people.
I didn't like their names were Jodie and Martin, but that's kind of something that happens in Apatow Productions. They just get their first name anyway.
Well, no, because everyone had the same first name that came back. Even Jason Segel had the same name. So I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be the same
I know
characters all
Jason
around.
Segel wasn't playing himself again, or not himself, but I'm pretty sure he was playing a different
The
character.
same character?
I think it was a different character.
They all were different. I mean, I can accept it because it was set 5 years after Knocked Up. That's when it came out.
But you have the four main characters playing the same character.
Yeah, I mean,
which makes it
but
weird.
Everyone, all the people that are coming back from Knocked Up, they all have the same first name, so I can buy that. I guess things change within 5 years. That maybe they all grow up a little, especially Jason Segel, because I mean, Knocked Up, that was about Seth Rogen going from irresponsible man-child to oh shit, it's time to grow up. So I mean, that works enough for me, but This Is 40's not a movie that I really care about that much. It's not bad, but I don't know. It doesn't bother me.
Weird
in the world of comedy,
choices.
In the world of comedy, it's all about the laughs. So I'm willing to make those leaps in logic. It's not like looking for specific continuity in a Marvel film.
It's kind of like it's not the same level for me, but it is kind of up there. In the same way that I've never seen the second American Graffiti film. I
can't believe that exists.
It totally exists, and it's more about like Vietnam. Yeah, I've seen clips of it. It has some like really weird like split screen editing. But yeah, that's all I watched. I did finish on Halloween my annual, not as in I do it every year, but it took me an entire year to read Batman: The Long Halloween, which is something I told you off air. I read it from Halloween to Halloween, reading it on the holidays that takes place. So that was fun. And I've been playing a good amount of Uncharted Golden Abyss, which is an Uncharted title for the PS Vita. It came out like right when the system did in 2012. Surprisingly well made. Like I'm about halfway through. Seems like it feels very much so like a PS3 title of the series. It looks visually like pretty comparable. Great voice acting and mocap. Like surprising that like that's on a handheld system, especially like when most people think handheld video games, they think like Super Mario or Pokemon. I was playing it, like it's really sad that they were able to make that 4 years ago, and 3, and since then Sony's kind of disowned that system, even though the quarter 2 earning results just came out, and as everyone knows, Sony's big earner was PlayStation again. It's pretty weird that they have another system out in the wild that's still getting releases. Like they have a new model coming out this month at GameStop. It's like blue, but they're not making games their own. Like it's kind of the equivalent of, well, I mean they are doing this now, but them having the Ghostbuster property for so long and not using it. Like pretty similar. But yeah, that's all I got. That's our Day of the Dead episode. Kind of wish I had seen Day of the Dead today, because like it does start with the main character crossing off her calendar. So it takes place between November 1st and 4th, or 5th, I guess you could say. But yeah, thanks for listening. Send us an email if you'd like, or a tweet, or anything. You know the name of the show.
What episode number is this right now?
I want to say it's 19.
19 episodes and no emails yet?
Nope.
All right, by the time we get to 52, I'm sure we'll get at least one.
If we get to 52. If there's no feedback, I might kill myself. Who knows?
Oh, come on, man.
I kicked my ass for this show.
I'm having fun, man. Are you having fun?
Sometimes. Not when I was going blind 2 weeks ago.
Okay, yeah. That's passion right there.
Yeah, that was passion. Yeah.
Hey, I've stayed up pretty late for you too, though, man. I mean, I get. Well, there was no physical harm, but That we've all put in our own compromises, and I applaud you for yours.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back with following Christopher Nolan's first feature in a couple of days for Death Cinema. Hope to catch you then.
See you next time, if you are listening.
Hope so.
All right.